One. Let's record this. Hello there, YouTubers. Give me a second here. I'm trying to record this. There we go. Record. There we go. Hello there, YouTubers, patrons from Awaken Your Spirit patrons, Patreon page. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman, and thank you so much for being here with me today.
What you're looking at here.
Oh, wait. What happened? Oh my God! What just happened? Oh, what is that? Oh, go down. Sorry about that. Little glitch there. Hello there, patrons. Hello there, YouTubers. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman. Thank you so much for joining me today, which is the 27th of July, 2020. I am here with you today to just bring you a little update on some predictions for the upcoming year for the weather, because we just came out of that energy cycle. Finally just came out of that energy cycle, even though it'll still feel like we're in it a little bit. I woke up this morning and was bombarded with stuff that made me feel like we were still in it. But that's okay. You know, we're out of the post-shadow of the Mercury retrograde. And as we come out of that shadow, Mother Earth starts to awaken. But before I go into that, if you are on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe down below. My name is Spiritman Joseph Tittel. Subscribe. When you hit the little bell, make sure you click the all under notifications to ensure that you get some type of notifications. You can follow me on all my social media down below in the description. Because before I go live, at least an hour before, sometimes a few hours before, like today, I always make sure that I am able to get that out to you and post it everywhere, including on the YouTube community board, so that you have awareness. Make sure that you, if you have the app on your phone, so that you get notifications through your phone, and make sure that in your email that it's not going into your spam folder. Otherwise, lots of people, thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. You rock, Nancy. So otherwise, you won't get any information or any notifications. So going into my weather predictions and some of the things, and I've talked about a lot of these. And if you go back to my predictions in my video from New Year's Day, my annual predictions is every year on New Year's Day. This coming 2021 live New Year's predictions will only be available to my patrons. So until then, other than that, the storms. So we came out of that shift. We're out of that shift. We're out of that energy. The shift is short. It's 12 to 15 days. This one happened to be a long one. It was 15 days. It started on July 4th. So we had from the 4th until the 19th. It's pretty long. And then we just came out of the post-shadow of the Mercury retrograde. Because, lots of times when I talk about Mercury retrograde and we're in the post-shadow, people are like, oh, we came out of the retrograde. No, we didn't. There is a post-shadow. Thank you, Patricia. Mwah, mwah to you. So we go into the post-shadow. The whole cycles will last 7 to 8 weeks. As we come out of those cycles, the crazy comes out in the crazies, and then the not so crazy become crazy. Have you noticed that? Oh, I noticed that this past week. Boy, did I notice that. But hey, it is what it is. This brings out people's emotions. It brings out a lot of stuff. And, right now on the planet Earth, there's a lot of emotional stuff. But, Mother Earth that we live upon, this is her land. This is her place. She is the one that we depend on for everything. Without Mother Earth, without her waters, which are the blood that flow through Mother Earth, or the lava could be the blood, depending on how you look at it, we would not have the ability to live or survive. Thank you, Time Dancer. Nice name. That's a good name. Jill. Thank you, Jill. So just lost my train of thought. So as we come out of this, everything awakens. If you go back and you look at my video from Mother Earth when she spoke to me back in 2016, I think it was, I got a message from her, but I was actually meditating outside and I actually felt the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Mother Earth has a heartbeat, just like the rest of us. She has lungs, which are the trees that provide us the oxygen that we need. And as we come out of this shift, just like everything else, when people's emotions come up and they don't work on their emotions and they don't work on the emotional patterns, the illness or disease follows. So you may have noticed a lot of people sick over the past couple of weeks, even coming in as we go into the next 2 weeks, you're going to see it. Now, coming up, we have the great rebirth new moon coming up, which I have to look at the date of that because I can't remember off the top of my head. The new moon rebirth is an amazing time period where we get 3 of them a year. And it's all about manifesting and making things happen. And I will actually try to get a video out about that so that you can utilize that to the best of your advantage. And I'll be doing my next master ceremony program, which I only did a couple times so far. Not master class, but master ceremony program. By Halloween, it'll be a 3 different dates program. So check it out so you can take advantage of the final shift of the year. The final shift of the year is important for us to go into 2021. So the rebirth new moon is on the 18th of August, the 18th of August. And that's when, you know, between now and the 18th of August, but especially right around the 18th of August, is you're going to see a lot of earth changes and earth events take place. We already have them happening. We already have them happening up towards Alaska with the earthquakes. Mother Earth is starting to shake a bit. She started to shake about a week ago. You know, we just came out of this cycle. Yesterday was the last day. So basically, technically, we just came out of it today. I'm on the Pacific coast, so you know, July 27th here, 6:26 p.m. So it was about a week ago that there were quite a bit of earthquakes going on. Quite a bit of earthquakes. We had, I don't even remember off the top of my head, but like a 7 point something in Alaska. We had some down in the Philippines, and then it's quiet up quite a bit. You know, and now it's been pretty much below 6s. But that's going to ravage up again, folks. It's going to ravage up quite a bit. She's going to awaken, and she's going to cause some fury upon the planet. That's what Mother Earth does. But Alaska has been so super active. And I said that in my predictions. If you look back at my other weather predictions for this year, I talked about Alaska. I even predicted, I don't know, sometime within the past year, it might have been last year, about an earthquake causing major issues, possible tsunami or tsunami warnings in Anchorage. That actually happened. Well, now we're in that cycle, folks. This is, you know, a lot of people think all the weather stuff happens during the retrograde cycles, during that 7 to 8 week cycle, and they do, but they happen even more so when we come out of them. And you'll remember me saying this. When we come out of the next shift, September 23rd to November 19th, you're going to see the last 2 weeks of November, major weather events, unlike anything we've seen before. So hold on tight. This is for 2020 from August 2020, or today, the 27th of July. I mean, even though my title says August 2020, we still got a couple more days left. And sometimes some of these things might happen before the end of the week, before we go into August 1st on Saturday. So these predictions are for the last half of the year, basically, as far as I can go. I will come up with a lot more by the time we get to the end of September and we go into that next long cycle on the 23rd of September. So I will have something out there for you. I will have a top 10 weather predictions video, all that. I've been working on that a lot when we get into September and once I relocate and settle down on the new house. So let's talk about predictions for the rest of this year. Some of them can go into next year, but I'm trying to focus. And when I was getting this information today, I was really trying to focus more on now through the end of the year. Mostly I was trying to focus on the next couple months, September and October, because the first thing I have is hurricanes, hurricane seasons. It's not going to be the worst hurricane season that we've seen, but it's going to be a hurricane season, unlike other hurricane seasons. We just had 3 of them. 3 different major storms out there, from what I remember and what I saw, like reading online, because I don't really have time to look at all that. But when they were putting them out there, they were talking about the 27th or 28th, them hitting land. And I'm like, well, I hope it's that way, because the 29th, as you all know, is a date that always goes down in history when it comes to storms and major events on the earth. That's what we're going to see when we get to the 29th of November. The 29th of November is an 11-day. The 29th of November is not long after we come out of that shift. That's 10 days later, exactly 10 days after we come out of it. We have the 29th. There's an eclipse on the 29th. There's all kinds of stuff happening in November and October. All kinds of stuff. I think the 29th is when the 29th and 30th. The 30th is the full moon in November, but the 29th, look out, folks. I talked about big waves and big things coming. I talked about New York City. Not that they're going to get the big tidal wave this year. It's potentially possible. I'm thinking more like 2025 to 2032, as you all heard me talk about, which is funny. Everybody else is talking about those dates now too. But as you know, as my dedicated followers, I was the only one and the first one that ever put out that time period. And that's another video on my list of 10 different videos that I have to get done and put out there. So we'll talk about hurricanes first, because hurricane season's here and monsoon season's here. And I'm in Arizona. And I moved here, and I've only been here for, 8 months, 9 months. And already we're in monsoon season, and I saw one little rain. It hasn't rained here since the end of February, early March. No rain at all. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to being in Pennsylvania where all it does is rain. Constantly, it's depressing. I might as well make that the next state of Washington where it's depressing and rain all the time. Well, we don't have to worry about that now. That only in Arizona, because I get the exact opposite. No rain. Thank you, Cheryl. So, but monsoon season's here. We're in the heart of it. And it's going to be really, really bad, especially in Arizona, New Mexico, and even into California. You are going to see floods ravage through, unlike anything we've seen. We're going to be seeing this every year increase more and more and more. But California popped up a lot for me. And let's actually take a look at a map real quick together. Where'd my map go? Hold on. But we'll talk about hurricanes. This hurricane season won't be extremely crazy, but it will be above average when it comes to the size of the storms and maybe the amount of storms. But again, it won't be necessarily a record breaker. Next year, you can look out for the record breakers in 2011. But there is going to be a lot of stuff. We haven't had a lot of stuff going on with weather this year in comparison. And we are in 2020, 2-2-4, all about that. 2020 is a year where things are going to happen unlike anything we've ever seen. We've already seen it. I said this, and I went back to my predictions all the way back to 2011 predictions. And I have a clip of me saying, wait until 2020 gets here. It's going to ravage the earth and wake up humanity on like anything we've ever seen. It's already there. It's already happening. People are awakening. We haven't seen anything yet. When we come out of these retrogrades, I say the same thing all the time. It always goes out with a bang and comes into the new cycle with a bang. Like, hello, here I am. Well, that's exactly what happened. That's what happened when I woke up this morning. And people, but we're just started. We only just started. And we only just came out of that cycle today. So August dates, to give you significant August dates. We're looking at the new moon, like I said, on the 18th. You can really expect something pretty significant to happen around August 11th. And again, like I said, even the 29th, even though it's not November 29th, because I'm telling you, November 29th, you're not going to forget that day. Nobody's going to forget the date, November 29th, 2020. They're not going to forget November 11th, 2020 either. November 11th, 2020, because we have that shift that starts on Halloween, October 31st. That shift does not end until the 14th of November. That's the energy shift. So that's like 14 and a half days that we're in an energy shift. When we get to the 11th, which happens to be Veterans Day here in the United States, you'll remember November 11th, and you'll remember November 29th, and you won't ever forget the month of November for as long as you live. That's going to be a month that goes down in history in the world, and especially in the United States, unlike anything we've ever experienced before. But going into August, we're in that we're getting ready to head into that. We still got the 29th. We got 2 more days until the 29th of July. And it's an 11 day. And y'all that follow me know what I talk about when I talk about 11 days and what I've learned from numerology over the years. The 29th, you can expect something pretty significant, not as significant as we progress towards the last half of the year, but it's the 29th, and it's literally only just a couple days after coming out of that cycle. What, 1, 2, 3 days? 3. There's that magical number 3 that I talk about quite often too, and how everything comes in threes. The storms and the tropical storms that we just had out in sea, there were 3 of them. Thank goodness they didn't hit, they're hitting now before the 29th, but there's one of those storms that's just past Hawaii, and that storm's heading out towards, what do you call it? Let's pull up a map. I'm trying to find my map here. Give me a second. Bear with me. 11/11 is your dad's birthday, Jen. That's awesome. What a good day. Even weirder if you lived in an 11 year, which I couldn't add that in my head at the top of my at the moment. But so let's take a good look at a map. And let me bring you up to the map. The map, folks. The map. Here we go. The map. So here's the map of the world. And we have that storm that's just now passing over the Hawaiian Islands, and it's heading right over towards this area. Or maybe it's down here a little bit. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm geographically challenged. It's all good. It's heading down over this way. And that's where we're going to see big things begin to happen. In China, this whole area, and we already are seeing it in China, folks. I told you, China's about to get their karma. Boy, are they about to get their karma. But you also got to remember the Illuminati and the dark state, deep state cabal that controls things can control the weather. Oddly, because of where I live, I see very often when they spray their chemtrails that they go right over my house, right over my house. That's why when I move, I'm trying to make it as secretly as possible. I'm not even going to post pictures like I did when I moved here because of creepy stalkers. But I don't want anybody to know where I'm at. It's just the way it is. I'll be off the grid. I want to stay off the grid. It's important to be off the grid as much as I could. I'm not completely off the grid, but I'm off the grid enough. So that storm, I believe, without a doubt, is heading over to this way, over into Indonesia, this whole area down here. And I feel like it's going to go breezing right on through there. If you can see my mouse there, right on through into that area, right over to China, affecting this end of the Japanese islands and Japan. Over here in this area here. That's nothing in comparison. I mean, let's look at this one. This is a better map. Actually, no, it's not a better map. Right, there we go. Over here, there we go. Nope. Jesus, Lord, oh God. Indonesia. I knew that's what it was, but I just wanted to make sure. Indonesia. Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea down here. Lots of activity. This whole area down here is going to be so much activity when it comes to volcanic things and volcanoes and such. And it's almost like if we were to take a pentagram and draw it, starting down here, right in between, Papua New Guinea, and draw it up, right up to Alaska, whoop, right back down to the lower half of Argentina, right? So up, down, back over to China, Japan, these whole areas here, which takes us straight across the United States. And we have the whole upper area of the United States right here, which takes us to right in here, part of Canada, United States, and California. And then when we bring that back down again, it brings us right back where we started, down here near that there City of Angels. Big stuff's going to happen, folks. Big stuff. So let me talk again. Monsoon season. You're going to see a lot more water, a lot more. It's going to be not as active as the monsoon season, but let me get back on the screen. It's not going to be as active, but when it is active, it's going to be overly active. And that's the difference you're going to see in the storms between now and the end of the year. You're going to see below normal activity as far as the amount of storms or the frequency or the timing between them. But when we do see them, they're going to be extremely above normal active. So, like, again, I'm in Arizona and it's monsoon season. I haven't lived here in monsoon season, so I'm not sure about all this. And apparently it started over a month ago, and we're in the heart of it. I've seen nothing. We had one little rain maybe 4 days ago. I woke up, everything was wet. That was it. Lots of thunder, lots of lightning, but not no storms. And we're in the heart of it. So as we come out of the heart of this monsoon season is when you're going to see it. And you're going to see storms, maybe not as many, not as frequent, not as common, but when you do, look out. They're going to be huge. They're going to flood out everything. Upper Arizona, especially down in Phoenix, Tucson, that whole area, parts of California, into New Mexico, even Nevada. It's going to have problems that end up causing problems with electric grids, and the electric and the power, that's going to take out power. And then people are going to be slightly paranoid, thinking that has to do with the big power outage that I told you all about, but that's not coming until the fall. And we'll do another video on that later. I don't want to get into that now because I could talk about that forever. So volcanic eruptions, that's another real big one. Big volcanic eruptions. Let's go back to the map, especially up here, right up in here, right in Alaska. And this is where we're going to see more massive, and I do mean massive, earthquake activity. So when we have massive earthquake activity here, which could cause tsunami warnings and all up here, But when we have something right about there, what do we got right here? California, that whole area there. Oh, that's funny. I was just talking about storms that just started thunder and lightning. That's pretty funny. And I don't see no storms. Oh, weird. That's weird. That's pretty weird. But yeah, I'm a little weird too. So we're going to see lots of earthquake activity over here. We're going to see more down in the Solomon Islands and even off the coast of Australia. Australia, especially over here where we got Little Girl. Is that what that's called? Little Girl, Island Girl. You're going to see tsunami warnings and problems there. Australia is going to get a lot of big waves. Which means, not quite tsunami size, but enough to put things underwater, because they're going to go from being, and I don't live there, I don't know nothing about it there, but they're going to go from being really dry to being covered in water. They are about to be hit. I'm looking at it right here, and we got dry land over there, whatever that is, dry land. But no, dry land is probably where the wetland's going to end up being. And that's what's going to happen, just like monsoon season. When you have no rain at all, and it's so dry and you get a whole bunch, it can't absorb into the earth fast enough and it floods. Indonesia is a place I wouldn't want to be. Indonesia and this whole area over here. Japan's probably going to luck out except for that little edge of Japan there. But all these islands down here, all right here, and then the edge of China. China is going to, like I said, they are going to get their karma. But some of this has to do with the Illuminati and the way they control the weather. And the way they control the weather, they're going to make things happen. They already have. Massive, massive earthquake to hit Japan. And like the bug that they put out there, they're going to hide it from Japan because they don't want to let anybody know the exact extremes of the damage and the deaths. Deaths tolls that can be definitely in the hundreds, but maybe well over 1,000. And as I'm telling you this, I get this vision of like 9/11. 9/11 was over 3,000 deaths. So if I all of a sudden think of 9/11, and that was kind of like everything collapsed, everything fell with 9/11 in New York City. And I just had that sudden epiphany and that sudden vision. That's what we're going to see in China. And that might not be till November, but it could also be coming up. Like I said, things are coming. Right now, it's all about the water. It's all about the water and all about things being underwater. Those in New York City, because there's another thing. Let's go to the other side of the map over here. Because there's lots of activity coming on over here on this side, especially on the East Coast. The earthquake activity is all on this side, pretty much. But we're going to see odd earthquakes in different places. There was one in Nevada today or yesterday. I thought that was kind of odd when I heard about that. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not from Nevada and don't live there, but don't want to either. But I would think that's kind of odd. So we're going to see typical earthquake activity, but we're going to see it where it gets really big. And when I talk about over here in Alaska, I'm thinking that's where my volcanic eruption comes in too. Because I said this in my predictions, and probably back in January, that I saw a same repeat of when they shut down the airlines. They shut down flights to certain areas due to the ash. That's going to happen again. It's going to happen soon. And when we get to October and November, we're going to see massive amounts of earth shifts all at one time. It's going to be like people are flipping out right now about, the first thing this year, the bug. Then they're flipping out about the riots, which aren't only just in the United States. Apparently, they're everywhere else and other places too. Well, wait until we get to October and November. That's when you're going to see Mother Earth take a strike back at humanity. But again, earthquake activity up there. But again, I keep getting pulled so much down to this lower part. We have the Solomon Islands down here, Cantaloupe Island, all this here. And as I'm talking to you about this and telling you this, I see an island just literally just sinking into the waters. Gone, just sinking into the waters. Whereas as it's sinking into the water, one part suddenly comes up out of the water. So I don't know if that's like, it's almost like a seesaw. It's almost like a seesaw. When you go like seesaw, seesaw. Remember, we all had seesaws when we were kids. It's like the seesaw is down here under the water. This one's up here, and then this one goes down, and this one comes up. And I'm seeing that. And I'm getting that vision as I'm talking to you. So I would imagine that it would have to be down here along this area. I was talking about the Solomon Islands and all that. That's probably where that is. Again, November pops in my head when I say this and talk to you about this. You know, it's like I was talking to a friend earlier, and I'm like, I don't have anything written down. She's like, well, you know, you haven't prepared. I'm like, I have my bulletproof, you know, my little bulletproof. That's it. I like to channel the information. That's my predictions are the most accurate and specific are the ones that come through while I'm in the middle of doing it, like I do on New Year's Day. So island coming out, one island going down. So another thing that just popped up to me is Iran. Iran of all places. What's up with Iran? Iran. So Iran, earthquakes, there we go, Iran. I wouldn't think that would have anything to do with waters, and we're talking mainly about earthquakes right now. So I'm going to say that there's got to be something in the area of earthquakes when we get to Iran. And then I'm getting pulled down to this whole area, this whole little pinnacle right here, all the way from the coast of India, all the way up to the edge of Turkey, maybe even part of Turkey, part of Iraq. And then it just seems like a big crack right on down. A big crack right on down through Iran, through part of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. Pakistan jumps out at me the most when I'm talking about that. So maybe that's the Mecca, the center of where this major earthquake takes place. September could be very likely when we get to that part. And then means we're over here, we got Nepal. Nepal is another one. We have where you see major forest fires, and I don't know about now because I don't know, I haven't heard of any, but if there are some now, where you see major forest fires is places where you're going to see major water, and some of them you're going to see major quakes. These major quakes might not be major in the point of being 8.0, but it could be in a place where they're not used to quakes at all. So if you're not used to any earthquakes at all, you don't get earthquakes, it's not common, and all of a sudden you get a 6.0, 7.0, that's major to them people, especially if it's in a place where there's a city or anything that could be ravaged by that. Thailand, poor Thailand. Poor Thailand when it comes to the waters and comes to everything. And this little pinnacle right here just being broken through. So I don't know, again, if there's earthquakes up in there, if they do have earthquakes up in that area. Where we go here? Cambodia. Cambodia was another one that came to me. So I don't know if they have earthquakes or what's going on over here. But I see that break, that sudden like break that I just said in between the two. So, but let's go back to China. China. Oh, China. Oh, China. You think you're going to rule the world, but you're not, because Mother Earth is going to ravage you. What I feel bad for is the Chinese people, because they are just under enslavement, just like the rest of the world, but they're enslaved more than anybody, almost more than anybody, because, you know, other Middle Eastern countries are very enslaved. But China is going to see major issues, not even just with weather, other stuff. I'll talk about that in other predictions, but China is literally seeing earthquakes, big earthquakes. Like I said, literally like a city being taken down. Part of this, without a doubt to me, is the fact that whoever controls the weather and does their little crap, they're hitting China, which is not good. Because if that was the United States, because they all have weather control stuff, they all can manipulate that. Even though the heart of it all comes from the darkness, they all have that. And if China gets wind that the United States is responsible in some way for sending a major earthquake to their city, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good for the world. So let's hope that doesn't end up being the case. But China's already, I see as I'm talking to you, a dam literally breaking open. And I've said this in other predictions. I've told you this a couple times. And then I see the number 3. So as I'm seeing a big dam break open, and it's already flooded. What I'm seeing is already flooded. Not right now. I don't mean like metaphorically later. I see it already flooded. It's already flooded. And as I'm telling you this, and the waters are so high, right on top. The waters are so high. They're right up. Here's the edge of the dam. The waters are right here, like right at the top, and they're like, you know, in the United States, we would call it like white top waves, you know, the wind blowing and such. And then all of a sudden I see black clouds coming in. And if I'm standing behind the dam where the water is where I am, my blue, right? And then the cities and all down here, I'm here looking down from the dam and I see these clouds coming in from the right. And it really literally looks to me like almost like tornadoes coming in. Now we were just talking about China. So, I mean, when I do this, I would make an easy assumption that maybe it's China, but I really don't know. I'm thinking probably is. But again, I see the number 3. So when I see the number 3, I could take that a couple ways. I could take that as a date related to the 3rd of a month. I could take that also. More likely, everything comes in 3s. I've been saying it for 15 years of predictions. Everything comes in 3s. 3 major dams breaking. Just to point that out, in the United States, you got the Hoover Dam. You know, not this year, I'm not saying now, but that Hoover Dam is going to break eventually. That Hoover Dam is going to go. Mother Earth's pissed off that they put it there as it is. She don't want that there. She's already cracking the structure from underneath. Oh, really? That's good to know. New information I get while I'm doing this. It's already cracking from underneath. So with the Hoover Dam, it's different. Where the one I just had a vision of as I'm talking to you with the water here and all that, and the storms coming in, that's like literally crashing right through the middle. It's like right through the middle, the whole thing just whoosh, comes out and spreads in all directions. People start running, but they ain't got nowhere to run to. And that water ends up going a lot further than it would normally be forecast to go. That's the big one. I'm thinking that's China. I talked about Japan in my other predictions, and I love my people in Japan. I have such a huge following in Japan. Thank you, my Japanese beautiful people. I can't wait to come and visit your country. I can't wait, which will be within the next 3 to 5 years. I will come to Japan to visit my Japanese followers. I look very forward to it. My book's published in Japan. Messages from the Other Side. I'll be working on my autobiography sometime next year. I'm very excited about that. So Japan, I'm talking about dams breaking right now. So if I'm talking about dams breaking right now, and I just brought up Japan, I'm thinking that they may have a dam break. I don't know what I said in my last predictions, but it was recent. It was only within the past month or two that I talked about problems with, I think, earthquakes in Japan. I talked about the big mountain. I'm having a little bit of a memory of that. I'm thinking that that might be where the other dam broke. So overall, we're talking about dams, the number 3. I'm thinking China, Japan, United States, and maybe in the order I said: China first, United States second, Japan third. But in the United States, I don't necessarily at all feel like that would be the Hoover Dam yet. I'm thinking Hoover Dam 2025. That's the year for the Hoover Dam. Now, as I'm talking about that, I'm thinking of President Hoover. I don't know why. I'm going to write that down as I'm talking to you, because I'm sure that there's something about it, and I will find out for you all for the next video. Hoover and the Hoover Dam. So there's got to be something with that, with his birth date, with when he died, something to do with that. Now I'm fascinated. Now I want to go in and look for that. Elijah. Oh, how beautiful you are, dear Elijah. Thank you. You are an amazing, beautiful human being. Hey, I got a new little nephew that was just born, and his name's Elijah. I'm so excited. He's the cutest little boy ever. He is literally a Messiah. He is literally not a Messiah, but he is actually the archangel. And from the Bible, Elijah being reincarnated. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. So thank you, Elijah. And that is up to an 11, by the way. There's that damn number 11. So we got the dams. We got the dams. 3 of them breaking. I'm thinking 3 in a row, but I'm thinking they're separated by periods of time. Maybe 3 weeks apart, maybe 3 months apart. One's going to be somewhat minor in comparison to the other 2. Maybe possibly the one in between, United States, might be the one minor in comparison, but they're still never minor when it comes to the disaster of a dam. So as I'm talking about this and I see this and I see water rushing, it's also affecting things more so when it affects something that puts toxins in the water. So for example, a dam breaks and there happens to be an oil refinery nearby, and it wipes out the refinery or causes damage to the refinery. Now we got oil in the water on top of it. Not a good scenario. So moving on to the next thing, as I'm talking about water and I'm talking about refineries, I'm looking out at the ocean. I'm looking out at the ocean and I see, you know, those refineries in the middle of the sea, which I don't like, who the F ever thinks of this stuff? Like, what are you, crazy? You want to poison the whole planet? They already are, but so I'm looking at that. I'm looking at a refinery out in the ocean and I see the storms start to ravage. I see the boats coming in. in high speeds. If they're coming in at high speeds, it's like the storm comes out of nowhere, or it comes faster than they expected, or it makes a turn, comes in. So I think of the Gulf of Mexico when I think about this, and I hope it's not the Gulf. They got beaten enough with that oil spill back in the day. But I think of that, and that could just be me being American and all what happened with that. It might have nothing to do with the Gulf of Mexico. It might actually have to do with, if y'all remember how many millions of gallons of crude oil, and then they went and put that chemical over it to make it all sink to the ocean. Just like, what the F? So I'm thinking storms coming, waters are being ravaged, boats are coming in very fast. It's a storm that's going to take a sudden course and turn. It's going to totally suddenly, it's going this way, but all of a sudden it takes a big turn. That's what I'm thinking with that one. That would make more sense to me, actually. Where at? Again, maybe it's on that side of the United States, but let's pull up the map again real quick. Oh, where'd my map go? Where did my map go? Spiritman? That's not my map. Hold on, let me pull up my map. I don't know what happened to it. Here it is. There we go. The map. Bring up the map. So we got here, this would be the Gulf. But here's the thing with that is we have these islands that block everything, which is somewhat helpful. Not that it's going to completely matter, but I'm thinking, if I'm thinking of that, I'm thinking it might actually even be United States. I'm thinking maybe down around here, Venezuela and all. Venezuela, why I'm talking to you about Venezuela, the red light goes off. The red light goes off. So Venezuela is going to get hit. Let's go back to earthquakes, because this is an area that I get a lot of activity that I've been feeling. I've been feeling it since January, or before January, before I did the predictions. And Puerto Rico, poor Puerto Rico, they have getting hit enough with storms and stuff, but they're shaking. I feel the shaking of Puerto Rico, just shaking and shaking and shaking. So if I'm shaking and I'm seeing Puerto Rico, I'm thinking this has to do with earthquakes all along this line. And it's interesting because the Ring of Fire is over on the other side of the United States and the world, in the ocean. It's over on the Pacific side of the ocean, not the Atlantic side of the ocean. But that's the difference with countries and how things are going to go. That Ring of Fire is basically going to start switching around. And we're going to end up creating a Ring of Fire here on the east side of the United States and the west side of here. And I did, what else did I put here? Hawaii, woohoo, wahola, hawola. Hawaii was beaten years ago with that earthquake, beaten by it. And not the earthquake, the volcano. I predicted that volcano in my predictions. You can go back and look at all this stuff. Like, I wouldn't say it if it didn't happen. And I can't change anything because it's all totally done live every year. But I predicted the volcano, and if you look at Google Maps, this whole part of Hawaii, the whole side of the island sunk in. And I said that, Spirit actually said that in my predictions. Those don't follow. Specifically, Spirit told me that we have the Ring of Fire over here on that side of the world. Let me go there. We have this whole Ring of Fire here. And I was told that Hawaii is the center of the earth. It is the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So if Mother Earth's going to have a heart attack, it's going to happen here, right in the center of the Pacific Ocean. And Hawaii's not going to go anywhere, but maybe some of the people may eventually. So don't get paranoid. That's not this year. But I just see storms just keep blowing by in different directions that aren't normal. And I see like constant earthquakes, and then another small but still significant volcanic eruption in Hawaii. I'm thinking by the end of the year, but definitely within a year of today. So by this time next year, by the end of June of next year, that small volcanic eruption is going to be, again, the Earth, Mother Earth having a little heart attack, but heart attacks cause other events to happen in the body. So therefore, this little volcano that erupts in Hawaii is going to be a sign and symbol of some major events that happen here in the Ring of Fire, and then also on the side of the United States. So you can keep your eye out for that. Most of the weather destruction that I'm feeling for 2020 is going to be in the last quarter of 2020, October, November, December. But we're going to see some stuff coming up. Through August, through September, mostly through August, the last 2 weeks of August, maybe the first week, 2 weeks possibly of September, we're going to see major weather events. That will only be a small sign of what's to come in the last quarter of the year. In October, November, December, especially Halloween. Halloween, there's all kinds of stuff happening on Halloween. We have a full moon. We have that energy shift that starts. It's Mercury retrograde direct. Hold on tight, folks. Hold on tight. What else did I have here? Africa. I want to go to Africa too. Eventually. I talked about Africa in my other predictions, and actually so did my students, my apprentice graduates. We did a journey live for YouTube. Not live, but we did a journey and I edited it and put it live on YouTube. That's the stuff that's going to be happening. Thank you, Spirit, for letting me know that. So my students, and I know some of you are on here listening right now, I know that you remember this. I won't ever forget it. Go back and look at the video, folks. It's quite fascinating because we went in and we journeyed and did shamanic journey for the whole bug thing that was going on. Nothing we got had anything to do with the bug. Nothing at all, which is fascinating to me. And we all got similarities of things that were going to happen. Zambaya. So right here, Madagascar. And I think that might be what we talked about in the journey I did with my students. So go back and listen to that. And now I'm going to go back and listen to it because I'm really, really curious about it. But we saw things with Africa. We saw things with volcanic eruptions, major stuff. Even with one of my other classes, my master classes. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Marilyn, for your chat cash. I'd appreciate it. So I'm thinking, because this came to me today before I went on live with you, was this area of Zambaya, Zimbabwe. And I want to go to Africa, and I will go to Africa eventually. But I'm thinking that that storm that we were seeing, and my students were saying, my graduates were saying, was coming in here. That could be a tsunami or tidal wave of some sort, which would be this part of Africa here. And part of Madagascar. Madagascar is going to have a problem right down there on the edge. And then this part down here. I think that at one point we talked about this side of Africa, but I'm really thinking it's over there, especially today. Again, right before my predictions, I kept getting Zambaya. We were thinking South Africa, which again would be a part right there of South Africa. If there was something like a tsunami to come swirling in, that would be it. Now, being that Zimbabwe is inwards quite a bit, I'm not sure why that kept coming up to me. I mean, I would find it be quite crazy if something came from here and went right over to Zimbabwe. But what if there's a big hurricane or something that doesn't build until we get there? Not sure, but that's what I got, folks. Waves of ravage. Storms of rage, folks. Storms of rage. Photographs that are going to be world-breaking, famous photographs that are going to be taken of these storms and things that are yet to come. So keep an eye out for that, because there's a lot to come. I just got really hungry all of a sudden. Is that awful? What else? What else? I have here hurricanes. I talked base about that a little bit. Hurricanes, New York City. New York. Oh, New Yorker friends. I told you about the Statue of Liberty. I told you about her going underwater. I don't believe that that's going to be now. So, I have a lot of paranoid followers thinking, oh my God, well, this is your sign to start preparing your life to go into inland. Because I can guarantee you, if you wait till 2030, you're not going to even be able to look back because you ain't going to be here. Get out of that area. Get off that part of the East Coast of New Jersey and New York. You have time. So don't freak out and be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You have time to say, hey, universe, I'm in. Show me where I need to go in the world that's good, safe, and positive for me. And you'll be directed there. Don't think about the money. Don't think how you're going to do it. Just do it. All you can do is just do it. Let's see. What else? Did my map go away? It did go away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So sorry. So yeah, New York City. You're going to see all this right here is going to be gone eventually. Trust me. I've been saying this since I was 19 years old. I'm pushing 50. Florida underwater. New Jersey underwater. New York underwater. Parts of the Carolinas underwater. That's not going to exist by the time we get to the year 2032. Probably by 2030. So, you know, folks live there in this part of California, like all the coastlands, folks, the waters are going to get overflowed in the oceans. There's going to be a record-breaking heat in the Antarctic, melting more ice than ever within just a short period of time. And I mean a super short period of time. I'm thinking that's going to happen in 2025, actually. The summer of 2025, which I have written down in my list of videos to do, that there's going to be a record-breaking heat, as if like sun flares that are responsible for it, that heat up everything within such a short period of time. Part of that will be ignited, the sun flare, by volcanic activity. Going back again, volcanic activity, going up to this part of the world. So we got up here, especially the very upper part. I don't know about volcanoes there. And then you got the Greenland. It's more the upper part of the map that we're going to see the most. There are going to be problems down here. Mark my words. But yeah, that's still some time away. But when that happens, it's going to be so fast. It's going to be such a domino effect that there won't be no preparing. I mean, that's why you just got to prepare now. You know, get yourself ready, get your family ready, you know, move somewhere inland, follow your gut. Don't try to figure out, because I get clients constantly to book sessions. And one of the first questions they ask me is, where can I move to make my family safe? I'm not usually allowed to tell people. Spirit doesn't usually direct me. All I can say is to be open to going wherever the universe directs you, and be impatient, and it'll happen. And when you get there, and when Spirit points it out to you, you'll know. You'll know, just like me in Arizona. I just knew. Once I got here and Spirit told me, and I got here and then I meditated and they said I need to relocate here. I was like, all right, I'm in. You know, I follow everything that Spirit tells me, and the whole story behind it was amazing. And now that I'm here and living here, I look around every day. I'm like, how did I not live here 20 years ago? How did I not move here sooner? Of course, I wouldn't have learned and been where I am right now in life if I didn't do all that first. But just an idea for you. Because I don't put this out to you to put fear into people, because fear is not going to do you a damn bit of good. Being prepared. I am a bringer of light, love, and truth. And truth, people do not like truth. I'm telling you, the past couple of weeks, the so-called friends I had that unfriended me and reaped out at me because I posted something. And apparently I'm a racist and I'm a Republican. All these things are new to me. I never knew that. I never knew I was a racist and a Republican. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like, hello, it'd be a little hard for a racist to date somebody that was opposite of my race. Duh. It's just unbelievable. I mean, that's just people. They're in such fear that they reap out, and they reap out at others. And that's not what we can do. What we need to do, folks, is prepare. So that's some of my weather predictions. I will put this in the top 10 weather prediction video over the next week or two. My patrons always get that first on Awakening Your Spirit community on Patreon. I literally have a bunch of content that I'll be working on the next couple of days to put out to my patrons, and then hopefully out to you all by mid to late week. And then, you know, I got literally a list. And then come the fall, I'll be pumping out lots of material once I get the person to assist me with that. Not until I move. Here's one other thing I want to tell you, folks. Really important, because people on my Facebook and all are like, well, what's next and what's going to happen next? And none of those people follow my YouTube. And that's the thing. And I'm not going to answer you on Facebook because you're just not following my stuff. You got to follow my stuff. You know, I'm not going to repeat everything. Just go to my YouTube, look at my weather predictions, whatever. For the fall, by the end of September, you need to prepare. I told you all this back in February. Some of you listened to me. Thank goodness for you. And you were content in your home, and they put the whole world on house arrest. You were good. I prepare you again, because this is how much I know that we need to be prepared. I wasn't planning on leaving and moving until the end of October. My lease isn't up until October 31st. I'm not going to go into the story, but apparently all of a sudden the person wants me out, whichever. I'm grateful to be here to begin with. Doesn't matter to me. Wants me out like 60 days, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the F? And that was that whole bug thing that put people in fear. And all of a sudden, you know, they want out, which is fine, because here's the amazing part about that. The perfect place showed up for me. This place was only to get me here. And I got here, and I'm forever grateful for that, for the amount that I had to pay, everything. I'm forever grateful for that. And I wasn't planning on moving until the end of October, but now that I think about it, October 31st is when we go into that, shift and all. That's the last thing I want to do is have to move and do all that by November 1st. It might not even be possible by November 1st, actually. So it makes sense. And that might be the reason behind their decisions. Maybe intuitively, they know the same thing. And they're like, you know, if they don't move before that, they're not going to be moving until next year. And then the perfect place showed up for me. I can't wait to show you all the place. It's fabulous. It's a little bit off the grid in a very safe location. The only part that's not off the grid is the electric, but we're already actually looking into options for that. But everything's fine. I have a place to get water right nearby, just everything. And I'm thinking Spirit made all this align perfectly, the universe on purpose at this point in time, so that by September 1st and before my birthday, the 22nd of September, I am in a new place, settled in, pumping out content to all y'all. And I already started stocking up on little stuff. I was going to stock up on more things, but I'm going to wait until the end of the month and move, because it's just more stuff I have to move. But you need to do this, folks. You need to make sure you have a good supply of water. I told you they're going to take out the grid, and if not, there's going to be storms that are coming that might take out your grid for a while. You just need to be prepared. And hey, if it don't happen this year, I'm wrong. Great. I'd rather be wrong than be right, to be quite honest with you. But you still need to be prepared at all times. This is the point on the planet Earth in 2020 that folks need to be prepared and have enough standby food, enough water, and a resource for water. So, you know, if you're, no matter what, even if you have a well, unless you can put a bucket down in that well and get water, you're not going to be able to get water, because everything runs on electricity, unless you have backup for that. So you need to have a source of food. And normally I said, and back in February, I have at least 30 days worth of food and water. I'm going more with like 60 to 90 days now. I've already put in orders for food, emergency supply of food that is only there if it's an emergency. And then I'll stock up on other food. So that way I have 30 days worth of food on standby, you know, stocked up, that's safe and will stay good for years. You should look into that for yourselves. And then water. You know, you don't realize how much water you drink. I know how much water I drink, and I use spring water for everything, including my pasta, because I don't do public water because they fluoridate the hell out of it. It's just filled with chlorine. Chlorine is not good for your body. But what I will also have is, now that I'm near a close by a good source of water, I will still have a proper filter that I could filter out river water or creek water that I could walk to. So if you have somewhere that you can walk to, you know, get one of those special filters that you can filter out river water, creek water, you know, that's better than having to boil it. And just make sure, get those big 5 gallons of water and just start stocking them up so that you have them. I already started stocking up on the stupid stuff like toilet paper, because, like, not that I would run out, like, because I don't use it like these people use it, but I already stocked up on it. And so I know I'm good. I'm good till the end of the year. And I didn't buy like cases of it like some people did. But little stuff like that, anything that I need. By September, as soon as I move, I will put in a huge order of dog food for my dog so that she has plenty of food. Please don't forget your pets. Got to remember your pets, folks. Make sure, because otherwise you're going to be feeding them your food. You know, they're hungry too. Make sure they got lots of treats. Now's the time. We're not even in August yet, folks. You got 2 months, just over 2 months to stock the hell up, so that you are good by October, November, December, the end of the year, especially if they try to put us all on house arrest again. And again, if I'm wrong, great. That's why I say get the kind of food that you can get that's good for years, that you could stock under, preferably not canned food, because it's actually not healthy for you. Canned food is very unhealthy for you. But they have foods, military grade foods that you can order and put underneath that are good for years. That's what I'm ordering. I'm ordering it, putting it in a place where it's hidden, where nobody can get it. So just make sure you have all that, all the necessities you would need. That you couldn't run out of anything if that potential ever happened. Water, food and water for your pets and your animals, and an extra emergency reserve of what you can do if you can't. Water is the most important. Everything else, I mean, grow some vegetables, put some seeds out back, get yourself ready. It's another thing I love about where I'm going is it's great raised beds, because my house I sold back east, I worked hard on an organic garden and raised beds. And when the guy bought the house, he's like, I'm not going to use that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you realize what you have in your backyard? All you got to do is go put seeds in the ground or plants. I mean, it's organic. I worked my butt off for years to make that happen. So, all right, got a couple raised beds in the new house, and I will be fixing that as soon as I get there in September. That's one of the first things I'll be doing is planting some fall vegetables and lettuce and spinach and stuff, because you can get stuff in the fall, most places where you live, and I'll be able to do that. But, have that over the next couple of years, because this is nothing. This year is just a warning to humanity as to what is to come on the planet Earth. And it's not war and all that we have to worry about. It's Mother Earth's ravish across the planet Earth, and being prepared and being in a place where your family and all is safe. Always having an applicable amount of everything you need, or a emergency resource. Make sure, again, this is another thing people don't think about. You can buy all the food you want. You can get the military grade food, but what good is it if you don't have electric? How the hell are you going to cook it? So that's the other thing. I have propane. It's perfect. Propane. A little camping stove is good. Make sure you have enough propane. Lights, to me, my new place, the lights go out, I won't have no lights. Oh, well. So I'll go to bed early and get up at the crack of dawn. It doesn't bother me. I burn lots of candles, so I'll have lots of candles handy. I will make sure I stock up on candles before. The lights being out doesn't bother me. It'd be pretty boring sitting in the house by yourself and nothing to do because there ain't no computer. If you live alone, like myself and my dog. But again, I'll just make sure that I'm in bed shortly after sunset, and I'm awake at sunrise. All these things are important, folks. People have been talking about that, the preppers, as we call them, and we all thought they were crazy. They weren't so crazy this past spring, were they? Not so crazy at all. So I wanted to get that out to you before I ended these predictions and the things I wanted to put out with you with this stuff today. So until the next time, be sure to subscribe down below. Make sure you click the bell. Make sure you click all so that you get all of what you need for notifications. Thanks, Marilyn, again. And thanks, Suzanne. Anybody else? Who else did I forget? Thanks to Elijah again. Thank you. Because well, maybe you don't know. YT, YouTube, you're terminated, loves lately to cut off my monetizing on my videos. And here's what it is. It's not about the money with them. It has nothing to do with that. And they should be fine with this. It's just weather predictions. It should be good. Knock on wood. It's because, and it has nothing to do with the advertisers. It's all a bunch of BS. It's so that my videos and other people on YouTube's videos don't show up on the feed. You won't be able to find the videos. That's why they do it. Information they don't want other people to know or see. If it's not monetized and it's not got advertisers behind it, it doesn't show up anywhere at all unless you go directly to the YouTube channel and look at new videos. Remember that. So if you haven't done that with me for a while and you found me through the feed, make sure you go to my YouTube channel. Make sure you scan through to videos, because a lot of the last 3 videos I did were put on their hidden agenda list. So that's important. Also, again, down below in the description, you can find out information about all my links to all my social media places and my Awaken Your Spirit Patreon community. And to all my Patreons out there, of course, I appreciate you because you keep this going and you have helped me to reach the goal that I'm going to reach by the time I get to the fall, and pumping out content and being the bringer of love, light, and truth. Until the next time, y'all, Spiritman Joseph signing off, and I will talk to my people on YouTube, not YouTube, where to go? Oh, Lordy, to my Patreons as soon as I find my links to get off of YouTube. I hope you all have a great week. I hope you all have a great weekend. Love and light to you all.